Welcome back to another edition of Metal Album Warfares. And boy, do we got a great episode coming at you today. Yes, I'm going to keep this series going. You know, I was going to drop it, but you know what? I'm going to keep it going. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into this freaking episode of Metal Album Warfares. Because I got two of the most iconic crossover thrash debut albums, like literally in the history of extreme metal. And two albums that have highly influenced me as a guitar player and as somebody that loves thrash metal and extreme metal in general. Of course, I'm talking about the iconic debut album, the self-titled debut album, I should say, that came out in 1983. So in the left-hand corner, we got Suicidal Tendencies with their debut album. On the right-hand corner, here in this battle of which crossover thrash album is the best, we got an album that came out in 1985. You got members of Anthrax in this group, and you've got the almighty Billy Milano and Dan Loker. Who else am I talking about? M.O.D, Nuclear Assault. Yeah, future bands after this project. I'm talking about S.O.D with Speak English or Die. So for all the PC motherfuckers out there who get easily offended by shit, don't watch this video. Just saying. Anyway, so we're gonna begin with, I guess, Suicidal Tendencies, right? And don't worry, I got my Pepsi available. I got my Pepsi ready. Because all I wanted was a motherfucking Pepsi. Just like Mike Mirren wanted on the track, Institutionalized. But his goddamn mother wouldn't give it to him. Had to throw that in there. So, man, what more can be said? I mean, this is a tremendous debut album here. It's influenced practically anyone that's in the thrash metal, crossover, hardcore punk, you know. And it's still influencing people to this day. You know? I mean, my God, you got great openers like Suicide's an Alternative. You'll Be Sorry. You know? Two-Sided Politics. I shot the devil and I shot him again and again and again. You know? Subliminal. Won't Fall in Love Today. The legendary Institutionalized. One of the greatest videos ever made. One of the coolest tracks ever made. You know? Because all I wanted was a damn Pepsi. Damn it, I'm thirsty. Maybe a little bit of Jack Daniels with that, but we're not going to go there. So yeah, we got tracks like Memories of Tomorrow, Possessed. Let's talk about I Saw Your Mommy. Because I've never heard nobody mention this. And I'm going to mention this real quick while we're talking about, you know, these tracks. Okay. She Fucking Hates Me by Puddle of Mud is a direct ripoff of I Saw Your Mommy. Listen to the riffs. It's literally the same fucking riff. It is literally the same fucking riff. Just listen to it, play it back in your head. Puddle of Mudd stole that riff from Suicidal Tendencies. Yes, on the track, I Saw Your Mommy. Yeah, just put those two songs side to side and listen to them. And you'll see the comparison. I'm surprised nobody who's talked about this album never mentioned that. Well, I decided I'll do it. Memories of Tomorrow. I mean, Possessed. Oh, I already talked about them tracks. Fascist Pig. I Want More. Suicidal Failure. Man, yeah, I know I just kind of went through and just named off all the song titles, but I don't gotta talk about these tracks. There's not a bad track on here. I mean, this album's roughly around 28 minutes long. You know, this album's so full of energy. You know, I mean, you can just feel the aggression, you know, and that angst on this freaking debut album by Suicidal Tendencies. You know? But yeah, this is a tremendous album. Let's move on to the other album. Of course, I'm talking about Speak English or Die. I mean, my God, this album just begins killer. March of the S.O.D. Yes, March of the S.O.D. Stormtroopers of Death. For those of you living under a rock. One of the most crushing riffs I've ever heard. And this is one of them freaking albums too. When I first heard this, back when I was around 13, I couldn't stop listening to it. A friend of mine at school had burnt this for me on cassette tape. I had let him burn, I think it was Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss. I let him burn that, right? So then he let me burn a copy of Speak English or Die. I couldn't get enough of this freaking album, man. And to this day, it's still a very highly influential album on me. But yes, anyways, March of the S.O.D. is so killer. What a fucking riff. Then it goes into Sergeant D. Man, just another killer freaking song, man. About the S.O.D. mascot. Kill Yourself. A great thrashy tune. With these fucking larger-than-life fucking riffs by Scott Ann. That just stand out. You get the Milano Mosh. Used at the beginning of Headbangers Ball. There was a couple S.O.D. tracks that were used for Headbangers Ball. Okay. I believe March of S.O.D. was one of them. Chromatic Death, and yes, the Milano March. And I maybe Speak English or Die. But anyway, Speak English or Die is next. And yeah. Need I say fucking more? Killer track. A killer track. A track not for the PC culture, not for the social justice warrior culture. You know, self-explanatory what Speak English or Die is about. I don't gotta go into it. United Forces is another killer track with a huge riff. You know, part of United Forces would actually be on the Attack of the Killer Bees EP that Anthrax did in 91 when they covered Milk. Also on here. We'll get to Milk now. Yeah, great track, man. Chromatic Death. Short little, like, 46-second song. Thrash, speed metal, hardcore punk instrumental, pretty much. With just chant vocals of Chromatic Death. Killer shit. Phi Alpha Nu, just a goofy little fun song. Anti-procrastination song. Oh, I'm sorry, anti-procrastination song. Yeah, it's like literally 6 seconds long. What's that noise? Them goofing off in the studio. I always get a kick out of hearing that. Then you got Freddy Krueger, another great thrasher, and let's talk about Milk. Milk is freaking amazing, man. I mean, the riff's fucking huge. It's like literally one of the very first things I ever learned on guitar. Such a killer riff. I've always loved this riff. Then Charlie Benetti goes into these blast beats. When I first heard this, I couldn't believe that somebody could drum that freaking fast. Premestial Princess Blues, pretty hilarious song. Pussy Whipped, Fist Banging Mania, No Turning Back, and another one that's gonna piss off the PC SJW culture. Fuck the Middle East. Just intense shit. Then we got the Douche Crew, Hey Gordy, The Ballad of Jimi Hendrix, Diamonds and Rust. That's pretty much, you know, this album. The last few tracks are just short, little, like, 5-second long tracks. Anyways, this clocks in at roughly 28 minutes long. This also clocks in around 28 minutes long also. Relatively short albums, but just straightforward and to the freaking point. Straightforward and to the freaking point. But holy shit, we narrow it down. Which one's better? Which one is better? I'll tell you what, man, I might have to take a sip of Pepsi to decide this one. Now we see why Mike Mayer wanted the Pepsi after all these years. Man, I'll tell you what, for this episode of Metal Bend's Chronicles here on Metal Albums Warfare, these two albums are two of the most influential in history. I gotta be honest, I can't decide. It's a draw. It's a draw, I can't decide. I mean, both are just killer albums. Both are highly influential. It's hard for me to pick between these two. I'm sure people in the comments section will have their favorites. I can't pick. They're both that damn good and that damn important to hardcore metal, you know, hardcore punk, thrash metal, crossover thrash, you know what I mean. Tremendous albums. Anyways, yes, I took a sip of Pepsi. Now I wish I had some goddamn milk. Keep it metal.